Good evening and welcome to NoorNews. Tonight, we lead with a historic milestone for India's space industry, followed by the escalating regional conflict as U.S. strikes hit Iran for a seventh consecutive night. We also bring you the latest on the devastating earthquake in Venezuela. Let's get to the news. India has marked a significant milestone in its private space sector with the successful launch of the Vikram-1 rocket, the country's first commercial launch vehicle designed for orbital flight. The mission, conducted by the space tech startup Skyroot Aerospace, took place on Saturday, signaling a new era for India's burgeoning aerospace industry. According to reports from the BBC and DW, this launch represents a critical step in the commercialization of space exploration within the region. Skyroot Aerospace, which has achieved unicorn status, developed the Vikram-1 to provide cost-effective and reliable access to space for small satellite operators. The successful test flight validates the company's proprietary propulsion technology and launch infrastructure. Industry analysts suggest that this achievement positions India as a competitive player in the global private space market, which has seen rapid growth in recent years. By demonstrating the capability to launch orbital-class rockets, Skyroot is now poised to compete with established international firms in the small satellite launch segment. The mission is being viewed as a pivotal moment for the Indian Space Research Organisation's broader strategy to encourage private sector participation in national space missions, effectively decentralizing launch capabilities and fostering innovation in satellite deployment technology. Towering plumes of smoke are rising over Kuwait this hour following a series of Iranian strikes that targeted multiple locations within the Mangaf district. The incident marks a significant escalation in regional tensions, as emergency services scramble to contain the resulting fires and assess the extent of the damage. According to reports from NPR and Al Jazeera, the strikes hit several key sites, prompting immediate security alerts across the area. While local authorities have yet to release a comprehensive casualty count, the scale of the smoke plumes visible from neighboring districts suggests a widespread impact on infrastructure. Analysts are currently monitoring the situation to determine the strategic intent behind these specific targets, as the strikes represent a direct breach of Kuwaiti territory. International observers are calling for immediate de-escalation, noting that the proximity of these strikes to residential and commercial zones poses a severe risk to civilian safety. We are continuing to track updates from the ground as Kuwaiti officials coordinate their response and evaluate the security implications of this development. Further details regarding the origin of the projectiles and the specific nature of the targeted facilities are expected to emerge as the situation remains fluid and highly volatile throughout the day. United States military forces have conducted airstrikes against targets in Iran for the seventh consecutive night, marking a significant escalation in regional hostilities. According to reports from the BBC, Al Jazeera, and NPR, the ongoing aerial campaign has prompted a direct response from Iranian-aligned factions. In a notable expansion of the conflict, Kuwaiti authorities have confirmed that a critical power and water desalination plant was struck during the latest exchange. While the extent of the damage to the facility remains under assessment, officials in Kuwait have expressed grave concern regarding the potential for prolonged utility disruptions across the country. These strikes follow a week of intensified military activity across the Gulf, as international observers monitor the situation for signs of further regional destabilization. The United States has maintained that its actions are defensive in nature, aimed at neutralizing threats to its regional assets and allies. However, the retaliatory strike on Kuwaiti infrastructure suggests that the theater of operations is widening, drawing neighboring nations deeper into the direct line of fire. Diplomatic efforts to de-escalate the situation are currently underway, though both sides have yet to signal a willingness to pause military operations as the cycle of strikes and counterstrikes continues into its second week. Laotian authorities have stated they are unable to determine the cause of death for several tourists linked to suspected methanol poisoning, citing a lack of forensic evidence. According to the BBC, officials confirmed that no autopsies were conducted on the victims following the 2024 incidents, which complicates efforts to establish a definitive medical link to tainted alcohol. The deaths, which occurred in the popular tourist hub of Vang Vieng, sparked international concern regarding the safety of local spirits and the regulation of alcohol production in the region. While initial reports and local investigations suggested that methanol contamination was the primary factor in the fatalities, the absence of post-mortem examinations means that investigators cannot definitively confirm the cause of death. The Laotian government has faced mounting pressure from the families of the victims and various diplomatic missions to provide clarity on the circumstances surrounding these tragedies. However, without the necessary forensic data, officials maintain that they cannot provide a conclusive finding. The situation has prompted renewed calls for stricter oversight of the hospitality industry in Laos to prevent further incidents of this nature, as authorities continue to navigate the limitations of their current investigative protocols in the wake of these unexplained deaths. German politician Jens Spahn has announced his resignation following intense public scrutiny regarding his use of a surrogate mother to start a family. The controversy centers on a perceived contradiction between his personal actions and his past legislative record. According to reports from the BBC and DW, Spahn had previously expressed support for maintaining Germany's strict legal ban on commercial surrogacy, a stance that drew sharp criticism from political opponents and advocacy groups once his own use of a surrogate became public knowledge. Critics have accused the former health minister of hypocrisy, arguing that his private choices undermined the policy positions he championed while in office. In his resignation statement, Spahn acknowledged the mounting pressure, noting that the ongoing debate had become a distraction from his parliamentary duties. The incident has reignited a broader national conversation in Germany concerning the ethics of surrogacy and the legal frameworks currently governing reproductive rights. While surrogacy remains prohibited under the Embryo Protection Act, the case has prompted calls from various political factions for a comprehensive review of these regulations to better reflect modern family structures. Spahn has not yet commented on his future political plans following his departure from his current role. Violence has erupted in Mali's Gao region, where a military convoy was targeted in a coordinated ambush by armed groups. The Malian military has confirmed the attack, stating that a counteroffensive is currently underway to secure the area and neutralize the assailants. While the military has acknowledged the engagement, the exact scale of the confrontation remains fluid as security operations continue on the ground. According to Al Jazeera, various rebel factions have claimed responsibility for the assault, asserting that they inflicted significant human losses and material damage upon the government troops. These claims have not been independently verified by external observers, and the Malian government has yet to provide a detailed breakdown of casualties or equipment losses. The Gao region has long been a flashpoint for instability, characterized by shifting alliances and persistent friction between state forces and non-state armed groups. This latest incident underscores the ongoing security challenges facing the transitional government as it attempts to maintain control over northern territories. Military officials have urged the public to rely on official channels for updates as the situation develops and reinforcements are deployed to the sector. We will continue to monitor the status of the counterattack and provide further updates as confirmed information becomes available. The death toll from the devastating earthquake in Venezuela has now surpassed 5,000 people, as rescue operations continue to navigate the wreckage of affected regions. According to Al Jazeera, the International Monetary Fund has officially released £346 million in emergency funding to support the nation's disaster response efforts. This financial injection comes as new, harrowing details emerge regarding the scale of the destruction and the ongoing challenges faced by emergency responders on the ground. International aid organizations have been working to coordinate the distribution of these resources, focusing primarily on providing medical supplies, clean water, and temporary shelter to the thousands of displaced citizens. While the search for survivors remains the priority, local authorities are also beginning to assess the long-term structural damage to critical infrastructure. The IMF's decision to expedite these funds follows urgent appeals from the Venezuelan government, which has struggled to manage the humanitarian crisis in the wake of the disaster. As the recovery phase begins, international observers are monitoring the situation closely to ensure that aid reaches the most vulnerable populations in the hardest-hit areas. Further updates on the recovery efforts are expected as more information becomes available from regional authorities and international relief agencies. Thank you for joining us for this verified bulletin. We will continue to track these developing stories throughout the night. NoorNews, verified before published.